I think the times that we've seen Coddle been picked, it lacks a team that can really bolster that defense, so that when you have that early aggression, those fights, the keeper light does feel a little bit underwhelming. But it's early days, so we can't jump to too many conclusions. But I do like this response to the Coddle. You have Prophet and Jakiro, these are both very strong laners, and Keeper Light, he's pretty much I keep saying it's more like a defensive hero where he'll enable your carry's farm, where the Blinding Light will be pretty strong, but he won't win you the lane. You're not going to suddenly get 2-3 kills and just push out the offlaner. So
but
go on.
I feel like you now just get the Troll, right? Against these two is going to work really well with the Coddle. And that's actually a hero that you always go like Coddle is the defensive laner, but with the Troll in the lane, he actually, it's not really actually that much of a defensive lane, is it?
That's when it becomes, in that scenario where you have the Coddle Troll, that's when it can convert into an aggressive lane, for sure, yes.
Would it be a bit too early for a Troll here, or?
I don't think it's ever too early for a Troll, unless it's a single core lineup where you are then also countered by, for example, a Razor, or in the rare scenarios that we don't see often, like the OD, but...
So with the Jakiro, I feel like this is a hero we don't see too much. We've seen a few picks here, but do you think it's going to be on the rise? Do you see this fitting the meta very well?
I think this is just a NiP specialty, where you see, like, look at the initial bans from Nigma. You've got the Oracle ban. That's against NiP, you just have to ban out the Oracle. Pretty much every team that has played against NiP has banned out Oracle. So it's very good that your position 5 player is already tanking one of your bans, right? And then second to that, you just want to have strong lanes. We've spoke about this very often. The patch is all about solid laning phase, transitioning out. And Jakiro naturally does well in all stages of the game, to be honest. The Ice Path is a very underrated spell.
Yeah, definitely. And I talked a lot about the fact that there's a lot of run at you drafts. Jakiro deals with that quite well, right? With the Ice Path, you can stop the aggression, just let your team not get caught. And of course, during the laning phase, he can really bully those offlaners, especially the fat ones that want to hit you, they want to be annoying. He just does this constant damage, though DK here is actually pretty nice because both of these heroes don't do like super burst damage. The damage they do is gonna get healed by the Dragon's Blood, and this DK can right now lane anywhere where he wants. You need to address him on most of the lanes, and Furion as a hero actually doesn't lane quite well against him because you can actually ignore the treants. You don't really care.
Something I like though about NiP's draft is the fact that because they're second pick, they obviously have last pick, they've picked up this Furion early. So let's say you mentioned this whole Troll idea. If they snap pick a Troll, sure, it's a good lane for an off lane, Nature's Prophet. But NiP, they run it mid and they run it carry. Normally Saberlight, he's playing those initiating off lanes, Axe or Mars, sometimes even like a Centaur or something to those degree. So the fact that you have this early Nature's Prophet pick, you know it's going to most likely be a core, but you can't really counter it because Bounty Hunter. Yeah, I think NiP, honestly, they've given themselves a really solid opening right now, especially for their playstyle as well. It's Saberlight Bounty Hunter.
I like it as well. I really like the Bounty Hunter, how he works right now. Usually go for the draft, you have 1 or 2 fat heroes that go in front, but the Bounty, it doesn't work against him because he's running around, he's tracking everyone, you always have good vision, and then you jump on the backline, you get a few kills, and team fights that you win actually matter, right? If you're losing, you can actually come back with this hero, and NiP has done it a few times in this tournament already, so let's see if they can do it again against Nigma.
And as you say, those kills matter. You've got a hero that can get involved in the fights early in the Prophet. I wonder if they do couple up something they've done before, which was the Tinker we saw earlier in this tournament from the side of NiP.
Yeah, that for sure is very possible. That's, I think, why that last pick right now is so strong for them, because they're setting themselves up to utilize the hero pool Supreme. And I think honestly Supreme in this team, he has done so much work for them. The TA game where he was like 20-0, and then he has the Tinker game. Again, it was a very easy Tinker game because of the Bounty Hunter kind of fact, but it's the fact that they had the balls to pick Tinker and they played such a solid game with it. And even though it looked rough, it was always in their favor, I feel. So I think just NiP, Supreme, like these players, it's a new form team, but the players all individually, you go, damn, these guys could be so good, especially when you got the experience on the support duo that just pushed these like younger cores into the spotlight.
And we see a Rubik, I have to say, even though like Ice Path is one of the best spells and it's easy to steal given how long of an animation the Jakiro has, I'm not the fan of this pick just because it's another squishy hero that can get brought down by the Bounty Hunter, all of these spells constantly thrown out, right? Plus, like, how do you defend the towers against this Nature's Prophet? You don't really have supports that have really strong team fight. So I'm kind of scared if NiP gets early towers, these two supports are going to be food for the Bounty Hunter.
That's a fair point as well, right? Because NiP, they can push early. They also have good D-push, which I'm guessing is why Nigma picked up that Dragon Knight, so that when you go for towers, you can actually commit onto them, right?
I think it's also just the fact that it's a hero that they can put between like, Weehar and maybe even Mind Control could play it. I think there's probably a hero that would fare pretty well. If you look at how Liquid played with Boxy, just that early Blink Dagger rush on the offlane, it's just a very solid hero. But, yep, just continuing to go for like complete, like they're doing nothing out of the ordinary with their picks right now. It's just, I'd be scared if I was Nigma, because NiP are very much in their comfort zone and they have executed so well with these types of heroes. And Nigma, on the other hand, we're seeing a little bit of a new type of draft, not in terms of like the heroes, maybe the DK, but just the fact that you haven't got such a strong, prominent draft from the first three.
It doesn't look like you just want to fight all the time with Nigma's lineup right now, right?
Yeah, for now, yeah, because again, they do have a reliance on the Embers, the Chens, like these types of heroes that's pushing through to a fight. Oh, okay, there we go. Now we have the brawly boy.
I think they want to lane the Necro against the Void Spirit. If it's Void Spirit mid, the Necro deals solidly well against it. He doesn't get brought down by these heroes. Again, they don't have much burst. The Void Spirit would have to have a good game, a lot of levels to actually bring down the Necro if they're laning against each other. Unless this Furion comes at the perfect timing, they're not bringing him down during the laning stage, and if he's farmed, they're gonna bring him down not that easily. So I like this pick, though on the other hand, not much burst on Nigma to actually bring someone down for the Scythe.
My concern is that you now have shown, obviously, it's going to be, or you haven't shown, but DK and Necro, both obviously being your cores, they're both very susceptible to the Vessel. Void Spirit, if he's mid, happily wants to buy a Vessel. Then you pair that with the aggression. It's like your frontline guy who wants to take a couple spells will be really squishy. And it doesn't matter if you replace it with a different core, because they're both going to die to the same type of initiation.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. Though, on the other hand, also Bounty, if it's an offlane Bounty, can get an early Vessel as well. So
maybe, yeah. And then you diversify. Now you have let's say an Ags or a Yules on your Void Spirit, for sure. It's just the fact that you have a DK and a Necro in the same draft. You're going to put a lot of pressure on Miracle and whatever his pick is to be that kind of transitioning factor in winning you kind of these bigger fights. Right now,
because like Nigma, we hit on it a little bit earlier that they've got really squishy supports, and Ninjas and Pajamas are far lacking when it not lacking rather when it comes to the catch. Right, you've got Void Spirit, Bounty, and the Prophet.
But the main thing though with NiP and with this type of line that they run, they do lack that ability to really kill heroes, not early on, but in the early stages of that mid game, when the DK and Necro are a little bit tankier. If you don't have that Vessel, you don't really have much damage outside of that, right? Jakiro, Bounty, they're good, but Bounty Hunter needs Ags, and then yeah, so that's probably NiP's biggest concern right now, is how do they actually, if they don't start with a strong lead, they might feel a little bit handicapped, but then they're going to pick it back up as soon as they get to a couple more items, and they're going to most likely run over the game.
Yeah, this is one of those games that if I'd see a 4k gold lead for Nigma, I wouldn't just say, okay, this is GG, because you have the Bounty Hunter, you can, oh, hey, there's the troll.
That's the troll.
Exactly like what you said, they might start slow, but if they can just get a few kills onto the supports, then get the Vessel before Nigma has BKBs, Nigma's going to be in trouble, though troll. So to me, this is an offlane DK and carry troll and mid Necro. Do you agree? I think that's the way to lane it.
Sounds probably most logical, because you want to have the Necro with your Void Spirit matchup, and then you want to put the DK as your like initiator, therefore just go for the early blink. But this is why I really like this Furion pick, and also the Void Spirit pick to some degree, because you can still put, like, you have the Void Spirit go mid, you can put the Fury mid, but okay, they go Pugna. They have pretty much 3 cores that can go in any lane right now, technically. But I would expect it to be Pugna mid against the Necro, Furion as your carry, Bounty Hunter as your offlane, and then maybe even like a Void Spirit 4. Maybe we can see... Actually, no, it's Pugna. What am I saying? I'm wrong. Well, scratch that. It's Era Pugna 4. Era is playing Pugna. Whew. Okay. I forgot it's NiP. Of course, it's Era. It's Pugna.
Yeah, very good Pugna game as well, right?
It's very solid, especially against the troll. It's going to be hard for the troll to really kill anyone. Maybe early on you're going to have like the whole, Decrep's been nerfed, but nah, it's fine. You just max that and then off you go. But I really like NiP's draft. I'm a big fan.
I can agree with that. I actually see how it's going to work. The problem I see is maybe later on, how do you actually go high ground if this troll is super farmed? But to me, they're just gonna get the early towers and then control the map, get a lot of track kills, and even if they fall a little bit behind, a few track kills on your side of the map is actually gonna propel you and give you a chance to win the game. So I'm definitely leaning up to NiP as well.
I just think Saber like playing Bounty Hunter. We've seen so many games where NiP just feel a little bit behind, and then suddenly you get to like 25 minutes, they try push high ground, and then many shurikens later, that net worth lead's pretty much gone. So yeah, I'm favouring NiP because I think they're just in their comfort zone, and yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have to. Oh, hello. We've got a little bit of stats to play with, actually. Any of these too surprising right now?
I mean, no, we've been seeing them quite a lot, having solid success, most of these heroes, so...
I still think probably the biggest one is the win rate on Bristleback.
Yeah.
Is very much low. So I think initially when it was picked, it's very strong, but I think teams we've seen in the draft, they're working out ways to deal with it, and obviously it's a first phase hero, and then you eventually get all these counters towards it. So I think that win rate's a little bit upsetting to see. I think it probably deserves a little bit more because of how strong the hero is, but again, when you think about the teams, the higher teams, they probably don't instantly pick it compared to, let's say, the lower teams. So, again, it's a spooky win rate, but it's still a very strong hero, so you should not be fooled by the fact it's in the 30%.
And Shadow Demon plus Mars having decent win rates, actually really good combo to go. I think they got one of the higher win rates ELO so far. And I guess it's not too surprising, right? Because they can fight early like we want in this current patch, but if the game goes late, they scale really well.
And also, Shadow Demon gets rid of 40% of HP. There's some really fat heroes being played right now, and then Mars just follows up with the arena and the spear, and he easily brings them down. But I want to go back to this draft a little bit. Like Nigma, to me, they feel like they have stronger lanes, right? So, in my opinion, they can transition that into a game here. I just feel like this troll needs a really, really early BKB, and that has to happen. How do you see it, Tigov? Do you see their aggression actually being able to or them being able to avoid those track kills, and thus NiP just falls flat with this draft?
No, I think Nigma for sure has that ability to constantly take those fights. They're not really locked into many cooldowns, so we're going to see the classic run into a certain area of the map, will fight you non-stop. You already mentioned the idea of the Kotl and Troll lane is very aggressive. Like Nigma, they have the tools to play for that style that they need. My only issue, and the reason why I'm favoring NiP, is they're going to constantly run at them, but it's the fact that you're not just taking fights, and sure, if you go even, it's the fact that there's a track in play, right? You're not going to be going even on kills and going, okay, nice, we're dying in the right place. But yeah, I just think eventually you take a couple bad fights. Nigma, they've shown that, sure, they can take these big skirmishes, but Bounty Hunter factor, that's all it is.
Well, we'll have to see if the Bounty Hunter factor can be fast enough and if NiP's lineup can be fast enough to take this. There has been a slight delay, but we're finally ready to get underway, and I can assure you it is definitely worth it. Suns fan and Synderen are on the line, ready to commentate this match.
Thank you very much, Synderen. It has been so long since I have talked to you. How are you doing?
A whole hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
I'm good. You know, before we get this game started, I just want to give a quick shout out to T Governor for predicting 4 incorrect hero player combinations in NiP, which kind of underlines his point of the lineup being really flexible, but it's always fun, like when you're trying to guess who plays what and everything just doesn't align with what you thought.
The one I want to talk about, Synderen, is the era position for Void Spirit, because I remember you telling me that you spammed the shit out of this.
I had
and lost every game,
it.
right?
No, I won a lot in the start, and then I started losing some.
Okay.
I think it's good with the right position 3, and in this game he has the kind of position 3 you want to be with. Oh, Kuro's actually going to get killed here.
Yep,
completely caught off guard.
Aether Remnant caught him off guard for sure. Oh, okay. Fairy Fire, he lives.
Fairy plus blind.
Has to go back to base.
I thought he was going to die there. They could have maybe run him down, but no. Good blind and fairy. Keeps him alive. So, Void Spirit 4 needs help in lane. He's not a very strong laner, except against really specific things, but Nature's Prophet is a god tier laner. So it kind of compensates the Void Spirit's weakness. What Nigma have done here, though, is that they've picked the Troll, who is one of the best carry heroes, matching up against Nature's Prophet, so it kind of offsets the natural advantage that hero would have in the lane. So I think they're going to be completely fine bot, to be honest. I think Nigma will be fine in all 3 lanes, actually.
Do you level Void Spirit any differently as a support?
Yes, I would say, I mean, depending on the game, right? But I found that I like not getting many points in Resonant Pulse. Going something like you max Ether Remnant early on because it's your... Oh, that was way off the mark, by the way. You max Ether Remnant first because it's your stun, right? You obviously skill ulti when you can, but some games I would not even skill Resonant Pulse, and other games I would take 2 or 3 points in it, depending on the lane. See what he does here. I think you definitely skill at least 1 here against Coddle Troll. Just seems too good to pass up on.
Yeah,
damage block against Troll is really good.
Well, I don't understand. How would you skill him? That would be a 3-2-0? That's how you skilled him? Maxing Aether Remnant?
Yeah, a few games I bypassed Resonant Pulse, but I generally got at least 1 point. Like most of the games I would get 1 point for early laning. Because, I mean, it's a nuke and it blocks, right? The math of this spell is insanely good. If you hit 2 heroes, you do 140 damage, you block 100, and it costs 100 mana. So if you think of that as a trade-off of resources, it's just a super good spell.
I'm excited to see. This is going to be the first time I've seen a position 4 in a pro game, so... Have to take a look at Era very shortly. Weehaw in the mid lane, we should mention, on the Necrophos versus Supreme's Pugna. We saw him absolutely demolish OG Seed on the TA, I believe it was, 22-1, if I'm not mistaken. How's this matchup, though? Necro versus the old Pugna.
In game, it's really good for Pugna because of how good Nether Ward is against Necrophos. He has super high mana costs, especially on the ult. Yeah, it's actually been a classic counterpick for quite a while, and the reason they went for it is probably the added benefit. Yep.
Is not doing anything. Continue with your thoughts, Synderen. Sorry for interrupting.
So the reason they go Pugna here is that it's good against Necro and the Troll. I don't think they would put Supreme on Pugna if it was only against Necro. I think they want extra value before they consider this hero a core. Most teams played support right now. But yeah, this matchup in the game is really good. In lane, I think Necro actually does completely fine. Maybe Supreme made a mistake bypassing Nether Ward here. I think possibly you do better against Necro by getting a 2-0-2 build than Decrep early on. But obviously Decrep good for securing CS. Although Necro is one of the few heroes that can deny CSing both ways, if you know what I mean. He can secure them with Death Pulse, and he can get denies with Death Pulse, where he's Decrept, he heals the creep Pugna's trying to get, and then he denies it after, right? So I feel like maybe the word would have been more about it.
Bottom line, we're seeing a lot of exchanges. Miracle is dealing so much damage. Looking at his CS, 23-2 versus the opposite side, the Bounty Hunter is 20-0, so not too far behind.
Troll now playing with Coddle.
Oh, mid lane, Supreme getting dove by Necro. Weehaw continuing the pressure, has the 2 levels of Heartstopper Aura, double bracer, so super tanky. Supreme able to find a rune though, fill up that juicy bottle of his.
Still very nice play mid from Weehaw. Look at how big an advantage he's got on the CS department, actually. He's at 10 CS up on the Pugna in this matchup. Don't think this is how it goes on paper. Just outplaying Supreme with aggression. If he didn't find the rune there, he was actually kind of screwed.
We've talked about this a lot, but since I love Weehaw, I love bringing it up. He's always been known as this guy that once he gets out of the laning stage, he is one of the best players of all time, in my opinion. Of course, I'm a little bit biased, but the laning stage has usually been like his weakest point, right? The CSing. But having a lead like this just speaks volumes to how much he's worked on that game. And we'll see if it benefits him this game or not.
Yeah, if Necro has farmed this game and gets a hood into pipe, he bypasses the Pugna issues relatively quickly in the game. You need hood against this hero. It's more or less mandatory. If you don't have it, you just kill yourself with your spells. So he's currently queued up. The 2 braces are nice already for the magic resist. Now he's queuing up hood boots. And I think his build is more or less perfect. I wouldn't really have changed a thing here. This 2 bracer build in general is starting to grow on me in this patch, just because now that it's harder to come by magic resist on strength heroes, this helps them get the magic resist. But also just the tempo of the game, right? Like, having less gold makes these low cost value items relatively strong for longer in the game, while other people try to get their medium tier items. So you have like this insane power spike. This Necro right now is super strong, right?
And super slow. HP. No boots right now.
Super slow, yeah.
I mean, the hero in general just feels slow. Even once you get boots, it feels like. But obviously, the Ghost Shroud will end up making up for that quite a bit, especially if you end up getting that talent later on. Era is mid right now on the Void Spirit level 3, has only 1 1/8 of Remnant, will connect onto Weehaw. Supreme gets off the ult of his, along with Saberlight actually coming in. So the life drain was there, but it gets canceled off as GH is here to support his comrade in arms. But Supreme will live through the Necro ult. Of course, it was used mostly for the stun, as Weehaw looks like he will live. There's the Coddle Blast. Kuroki dealing a lot of damage. Supreme has to decrep himself just to live through the day. GH will finally be the first one to fall in this engagement, as Era now on the run. So it looks like in the end here, NiP come out on top in terms of the trades, but at least Weehaw lives. Oh, looks like Nature's Prophet died too. I missed that.
Yeah, I don't even know if this, I feel like this was way better for Nigma just because they get to keep Troll 1v0 bot for a full minute almost while Nature's Prophet rotated. So I would be happy being Radiant here. Obviously, there's a lot of freedom to move for the Jakiro now with Bounty Hunter level 5. He's just going to keep stealing gold from Dragon Knight. DK will never die in this lane, but his farm will be reduced.
Weehaw in the lane too long, as NiP was basically there the whole time just waiting, and then it ends up benefiting them quite a bit. So despite being down in CS, looks like Supreme has kind of caught up on both CS and experience now.
Nice blinding light from Kuro and the lift. They got double value out of the tower, and then they died anyway. But it was
counter initiation. Great job, says Synderin, as you die. Well done, friends.
I love the execution and the idea. I think they got surprised by how ready NiP were and that they still had all these heroes in position. Actually, maybe they shouldn't have been surprised. They have a ward, so I think they kind of knew, but just overestimated how much damage they could deal to Era. He has gone 2-0-2 on Void Spirit, so those resonant pulse points really coming into effect when you are in the tower. You get the damage block from hitting the heroes.
Coin for me.
Shouldn't underestimate the cooldown reduction. Goes from 20 to 11. But yeah, most of the time you use it once in a fight.
Well, tons of Nether Blasts are being used. Will they be able to get the deny? Nope. Saberlight takes it for himself as he transitioned to the mid lane, which of course just leaves Miracle to his own devices like you kind of brought up before. Done a little bit of damage to this tier 1, but he's back in the fray. He is 1 full level behind, which I guess it shouldn't be too surprising considering Troll Warlord will absolutely dumpster Nature's Prophet. Sprout does basically nothing since you will have a Quelling Blade, and I assume Battle Fury later. We'll see what he ends up going for.
He's currently queuing up Hood.
Hood. Wow.
Interesting.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, you look at the dire lineup, what's the physical damage component? You have a Nature's Prophet who needs items and talents. Oh, good Sprout.
Oh, Miracle getting blocked off. And it looks like the life drain is going to be just enough, as Air was there to help watch and clap. As top lane, looks like the Ice Path will connect onto Mind Control. Charlie is surrounded by 3 heroes, though. And here comes Saberlight. This is the global presence that you get with the Nature's Prophet. Gets GH in his grasp. Will attempt to TP out, but the Ice Path is actually not even needed. Charlie just dealing a lot of damage. Has phase boots. Crown will be going for the drums. So with this kind of a position 1 bounty hunter, Synderin, I mean, old school, by old school, I mean like 6 months ago, it was drums into Deso. How much has that changed?
I think in this game you might... Yeah, maybe you go the same, actually. Get some physical damage out because your lineup is lacking it, and then other people can get utility. Nature's Prophet's getting pipe. Okay, Ice Path and Mind Control. Don't think this is happening. A lot of magic damage here. Attempting to get off his Dragon Tail, but unfortunately for him, it requires to be in melee range. Supreme actually uses the Illusion Bottle to... I don't know if the Whirling Death would hit it or not, but we'll just pretend it would have. Ice Path into the Life Drain. Mind Control at half HP again. More damage coming out from Snake, who's completely out of mana now. They're going to find Era. Looks like he'll get out just fine with that value level of Dissimulate. I think he did dispel the whirling axis, by the way, with with the illusion rune. That's why he used it, or he would have saved it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're seeing some clear weaknesses in Nigma's lineup right now with what it's not able to do. The lineup has very, like, relatively... Oh, hang on. We'll talk later.
Another life on the 3 heroes with the ice path to follow. Mind Control's going to go down. Era jumps in, and it looks like they'll find 2 heroes right off the bat. The Necro ult will go off. It's not enough to take out Seneko as the heal is there for Supreme. 3 dead for Team Nigma, and it looks like Weehaw will be the 4th. As NiP, I actually was wondering why they stayed so long, despite the tower going down regardless, but NiP, very strong right now.
They got bodied that fight, and that's so many track kills too. The issue that Nigma are facing right now is the laning stage actually went well for them, but when they try to transition into aggressive plays right now, they're a bit short on the damage, right? Like, you have a level 5 Coddle, this hero doesn't deal that much damage. Necrophos, Dragon Knight, both slow, need to get in, and you're playing into a lineup that can dodge you really easily. You get track out, people are fast, Nature's Prophet can teleport, the Void Spirit can jump, you have to Crepify, you even have the life drain on the guy they go on. So NiP are just outfighting them right now. Like, that was not just the lineup, they just outplayed them too with how they did their target selection. Awesome Ice Path, Macropyre combo from Seneko. And things are going really quickly. When Pugna starts snowballing like this, it becomes nasty real quick, and they're going to find
Miracle, decrept, and he's just dead. Just like, oh my god. Whew. Charlie's Shuriken was only level 3, but the decrept amplifying that damage to a high degree. Era looks like he's going to find Weehaw. Sprout coming in, Mind Control should be able to help out here. Illuminate comes out in the meantime. Looks like Coddle actually dies very quickly as Weehaw, of course, very tanky on this Necrophos, but when you're surrounded by the literal entirety of NiP, means that you will fall regardless. So these track kills are starting to add up real fast as they have a 5k net worth lead. Yeah. My goodness. But you're right. It feels like Nigma's lineup it's a lot of survivability, but 0 damage, even with Troll's build. I mean, I'm not going to question Miracle, of course, but is going for a hood, so they're still not going to have damage for quite a while.
The timing just isn't there yet. Their lineup is built to turn into a strong mid-game ball, but they're taking early game, small to medium skill team fights that the Pugna is just destroying them in. Supreme has done so much damage. They're getting insane value out of Void Spirit because this early on in the game, before people start getting items, 2 Astral Steps plus the nukes from Void Spirit, even in a support role, it's a lot of damage. Like, they're just overpowering them before these tankiness items have really come out in full effect on Nigma's lineup. And now they're in trouble because everywhere they go, they know they're going to be hunted. Like, NiP will just keep running at them, finding track kills and taking the fight to them while they're scrambling to build up some sort of meaningful inventories that can win them a team fight. Does Nature's Prophet have the pipe soon? I think, is it full pipe? Oh my goodness. How are they going to kill people right now?
He sure does. They're going to go on top of Weehaw again. He's already at half HP. There's the ultimate from Kuroki. Gets 4 people in his midst. Looks like they'll be able to find the Pugna pretty easily. Weehaw actually uses his ult to finish him off, despite being extremely low. Saberlight attempting to TP out. Looks like he will do so successfully. So maybe a little bit questionable ult from Weehaw, as they could have gotten a second kill. But Nigma do defend. Dragon form was popped for that.
That was a very elaborate setup, by the way. Nigma predicted that this push was coming, so they had hidden Dragon Knight in the trees behind the fight for a good full minute. Mind Control was just waiting there.
Oh my god.
And then they got the lamp off.
Vice versa, Cinderin, is all I have to say to what you... Well, maybe not. All right, vice versa again. Cancel that, Cinderin. As Seneko now on the run. Looks like he will fall. Gets an Ice Path off. Charlie with very little mana to speak of. So we'll have to fall back. It looks like Life Drain was stolen. That's a handy one.
That's a really good steal. Yeah. So honestly, a super good play from Nigma here. We know they're behind and they're struggling a bit in this game, but if you can tell that they're focused on what the way back in the game is. We want to fight at this tower. If they come to us, we're going to use Coddle ulti and Dragon Knight will backstab them. And that's how they got that Pugna. They were not expecting that angle from Mind Control at all. So just really good foresight and teamfight planning. And it's step number 1. They're still definitely behind in this game, but that was a really big hold. Getting the kill on the Pugna, especially for Necro, got him 500 bonus gold. Completing now the pipe. And now the damage problems will go kind of both ways. So now they've caught up on the items.
Well, look at this item build coming out from Saberlight. By the way. He's going Nullifier as his second item. Obviously was changed in the most recent patch, so that it will not get dispelled in any way from Magic Immunity. What are your thoughts on that? I think the main thing I look for is obviously the Ghost Shroud canceling, but it feels like most of their damage, other than Bounty Hunter, is magical already, so it's almost like a negative to some degree to use Ghost Shroud, at least at this stage.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the Nullifier either. I think there's better value. Who's getting their Vessel? Do they have it? Okay, Bounty almost has Vessel, so they're getting that box ticked. I would just like to, honestly, like maybe a Mjolnir? Just put it on a front line hero and just get to work, do all that magic damage.
Another trap is potentially set here from the Radiant side as there's the ult, the Will-O-Wisp. Charlie is sucking. He's going to pop the drums. Looks like he's going to take the Necro ult to the face. 50 seconds on the deck, which means NiP as a whole just needs to get the hell out of dodge. They will finally save a stun for this pesky Nature's Prophet. That's going to be a second kill now as Weehaw starting to get back in this game. He's top of net worth on his team.
Deja vu. That was literally the same play almost. Like,
yeah.
You know that Einstein quote, Suns fan?
The
insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
Yeah,
Are NiP insane? I mean, it was a bit different. There was some different item types, but come on.
Yeah, and actually, Bounty Hunter was... he found one that... Or he popped the smoke on one hero and then just continued on. So was very, very confident. But that comes with the early lead, right? That's kind of
it's just tanking the life drain and killing the wave. It doesn't even care. You can literally just stand in the wave, popping death pulse and having the passive from pipe. And
he's really going for Lotus Storm now. It looks like.
Yeah. So to finish off on the Nature's Prophet build, I'm just thinking about alternatives because yeah, the Nullifier is really great against Necrophos, but mind control. We'll never finish thinking. That's fine. So just live.
He's at half health, but no allies are even remotely close.
And he does not
like the
have
main benefit from NiP's lineup is just push, right? And split pushing is part of that with Saberlight. They're going to find Miracle on the stun there, but the TP support from Nigma is out of control. Miracle is going to continue on to Saberlight. Is the buyback from the Dragon Knight. Mind Control coming back. He does not have ult for another 10 seconds to see if this fight will continue or not. Saberlight able to TP out.
They didn't have detection.
Thanks to the Glimmer. Was that Sineko's Glimmer? Who was that? Or did he buy one himself? Well, Mind Control's can pop the ult regardless. The dust is applied to Charlie. Can't use the drums for a while. But it looks like that Mind Control ult will be completely wasted. Unless they can end up going to another tower.
You can't not have detection right now as Nigma. You're playing against Bounty Hunter and a Glimmer Cape. You need to have a dust on your Rubik or on your Dragon Knight in these moments. Getting out there on Nature's Prophet should just not happen. So, yeah, and they got the Dragon Knight buyback. They should be super happy with that exchange overall. Now they get the tower as well.
Miracle. He has a couple allies close. Era is actually going to dodge the stun.
Very nicely done.
Mind Control is just trying to farm Nooch. He's trying to do something with this ult. It feels so bad to turn into a dragon and then feel useless, you know? Been there many times, Thunder, as you might imagine. Saberlight has not changed his item build. Yes, in Dota. Well, I guess you could use that analogy in real life. Sure. They don't have... I guess they kind of do have a dragon. It's a Phoenix. It's close enough.
Well, NiP kind of stabilized again, got back the lead that they just lost, and now the 20-minute outposts are coming up. So I don't know if Nigma even tried to contest an outpost. It feels really dangerous without dragon form. They are trying. Okay. If NiP are ready for this, this could really cement their lead in the game. I think they're favored in this fight if they're set up, but it doesn't look like they're
tracked right now.
Trying at all to defend it.
Weehaw was tracked and smoked. So I feel like they should know about this. As the outpost will be successfully taken over. So it's a 1-for-1 split. Miracle is going to run right into the Saberlight. There's the Sprout. Quelling Blade was actually on cooldown. No, he used it on the bottom side. He's going to get destroyed. My goodness, this damage. Holy jeez. And now they are absolutely on the run here. Dragon Tail onto Saberlight. Era. Gonna find the Sprout, but doesn't last very long. Obviously, the Quelling Blade on Dragon Knight as well, but he is completely surrounded. Looks like Mind Control will fall. This is not quite a dieback, but his respawn time will definitely be quite high. 60 seconds on the deck for him. This is the scary part. Spirit Vessel is finished onto the Bounty Hunter, like you talked about. GH is barely going to get clipped there, and that's going to be another kill in their favor and another track. All the gold is in NiP's pocket right now. 8K net worth lead.
teams should stop giving this bounty to NiP. I think every big convincing win I've seen from them, the track or the bounty hunter pick has been hugely impactful. And now, especially if they're flexing it between 1 and 3, it's just dangerous. And I feel like Nigma were ready for this pick, and they were planning for it by taking a lineup that they feel like, yeah, you can track us all you want, but you can't kill us. But if it goes wrong once or twice, they can kill you, and they can keep killing you. The item advantage is just becoming way too absurd right now for NiP, so it almost doesn't even matter what lineup they have at this point. A 10k gold lead, track, tons of just overall damage coming out. Pugna now grabbing a Dagon. It's looking pretty grim for the Radiant side. And man, Dragon Knight, can I just say he has no game? Honestly, Mind Control just has no game. He had to lane against Bounty Hunter, got his gold stolen all the time. Now he bought back and died again. He has the same net worth as the enemy Jakiro at minute 22. It's just nothing there.
Necro, Weehaw, caught off guard. Shuriken's going to do a decent amount of damage. Spirit Vessel is applied. Looks like Coddle is going to use his ult. It's going to clip 2 heroes. Saberlight is going to be the main one, but they're going to focus onto the Pugna. Supreme at half HP. Era dealing as much damage as he can with the Astral Step. Looks like they will find Weehaw first, as GH looks to be next on the list. And now NiP is just continuing to clean up. Mind Control inside his dragon form, relatively early actually, going to drop as well. 3 dead. Miracle will be the 4th. Pops the Essence Ring, but doesn't matter. It's not enough. As NiP snowballing their way to what looks like could be a quick game.
When I see NiP play this Bounty Hunter, I wonder why they save it for second phase every time. They don't first phase this hero, do they? I feel like the last 2 games at least they've been third picking it, and teams are letting them have it, and it's just really... They're not getting it next game. I'll almost guarantee you that. Whether or not it's the reason they lost, it's definitely proving to be.
You think it's first 4 ban then? First phase?
Yeah, I think so. It's just when it's such a big comfort pick and the hero is strong in the meta because gold is more scarce and you get so much of it with Bounty Hunter getting tracks. I think to me it seems really clear right now that Nigma were trying to counter it this game. Like they were expecting it to be picked, they had a plan against it, and if that plan didn't work, are you going to take the same risk in the second game? I mean, I'm talking like the game is over, but it's pretty damn close right now. Nigma needs to pull off a crazy comeback here to come back with the kind of lineup that they have. This is when their lineup is supposed to be strong, and it's weak right now. So, pretty,
Charlie almost has his BKB. I mean, you're talking about next game, but obviously we won't talk about it too much considering this game's not over yet. But I will mention, Kuroki's one of those guys, similar to Puppy, where with old school mentality, where they might not ban these heroes. They're very stubborn.
It'll be
interesting.
I'm not saying they have to. I'm saying I think they will, and I think it's a good idea. But even better if they can give it away again and adjust their plan to beat it. But my point is, I think what they did this game was supposed to be the plan to beat it. And if you come in with that plan and it fails, I don't think you do it again in the second game, or you need to have a secondary plan that you think is going to work better against this particular hero. We're talking a lot about the bounty like he won the game on his own. I think they've just had insane spellcasting in NiP. The Jakiro and the Void Spirit have done so much. But they obviously get
nice
amplified.
quelling there from Miracle, helping Weehaw out as much as possible. Kuroki has Will-O-Wisp, puts it down, catches the entirety of NiP, basically. They're going to get the Necro ult onto Era. That's going to be the first one to drop here. BKB, new one, picked up by Charlie. That's 10 seconds, my friend. Weehaw just getting right-clicked down into Oblivion. Looks like Troll Warlord is next on the list. And regardless of the fact that Era died first, it looks like Nigma will lose this fight pretty heavily. Sanefu getting off his full combo, and Troll just blows up. At half HP, just gets blown up when he's in Decrepify. There's another Decrepify on GH this time. And yeah, this one, it has to be close to over, Syndrome. Kuroki in the fountain. Will they dive? My favorite mechanic in the game. Yes, I love it. That wasn't quite a dive, but that's okay.
The fountain didn't even hit anyone.
Bring multi-shot and break to fountain. Vote 2020.
You want the fountain to have more range too, or what?
Global
that insane dive they just did there. It definitely needed more range.
I was anticipating the dive and it didn't work out, as they call it GG.
Damn, what a stomp. Okay,
yeah,
I did not. I have to say, after I saw the draft, I did actually not think this game would go this way at all. I thought NiP would put up a way better fight and that their timing would work. But when they lost 2 fights early on, they were just almost doomed.